International Decade for People of African Descent proclaimed by the United Nations and to be observed from 2015 to 2024. And the UN identifies the most influential 100 people of African descent in public and private sectors globally. 2020 honorees are decision makers in more than 60 countries worldwide, selected based on political clout, business acumen, social in the spirit of recognition, justice and development of Africa, its people on the continent and across its diaspora. Well, joining us via Skype from Lagos is Abiola Champ Salami. He's a life coach and a recipient of the most influential Award of African Descent. Thank you very much for joining us at this point, and congratulations on this award. How does this make you feel at this time, receiving this prestigious award from the United Nations? Now, if you can hear me now, I'm just asking, how does this make you feel? First of all, congratulations are in order. How does this make you feel receiving this award from the United Nations? Quite prestigious. All right, we'll get Abiola Champ Salami to discuss this much later. Veronica, looking at this kind of prestigious award, of course, it's quite interesting that 100 people are celebrated in Africa, and it's been happening since 2015. How does that make you feel at this point?
Well, I'm not a recipient, but I would say that it would make anyone feel proud to be recognized amongst great people like Nelson Mandela and the likes. So it is a whole new horizon being opened, celebrating Africans who are doing great at promoting Africa, not just within Africa, but around the world. Helping to push for reforms, helping to push for some level of greatness in all aspects of life. Talk about the media, talk about feeding, talk about any sectors. These people have done a whole lot of work, and that is why they are being recognized. And so it will make them feel great.
And of course, it is a high time that the world recognize Africa, and this platform is quite a huge one for that. Of course, like you said earlier that you're not a recipient, but I'm sure one day you will be a recipient as you're changing your world one step at a time.
Absolutely. It is going to be something great to be one of those to be recognized. But then a whole lot of hard work has to be put in place because there are millions, and to be picked out of those millions, it is something to be thankful for, if I may use that word.
All right, I'm aware that Abiola Champ Salami is back online. Of course, thank you very much for joining us at this point. First of all, congratulations on receiving the award. How does that make you feel at this time?
Well, thank you very much for having me this morning. It makes me feel great, makes our team as well feel great. You know, that the work we've been doing, Champ has been in existence for 8 years now, so that the work we've been doing has been recognized, not just by a local organization, but by an international organization. And, you know, things like this give us more inspiration and even tools as well to keep on the goal towards inspiring 1 billion champions, which is what our goal is.
All right, so as a young person in this country now, you see what's happening all around Nigeria. Receiving this award, how will it impact on the Nigerian youth?
Okay, so you see, there is a thing with recognizing efforts, which is critical. No matter how great what you are doing is, it is good for even our emotional intelligence. It is good that the work you're doing is appreciated. Upon this appreciation, you know, the individual has more gusto to continue. That appreciation is actually lacking locally, because you realize that a lot of young people are trying, they're making some effort, you know, but the right institutions are not listening to them. And speaking of recognition and appreciation, on the street, millions of Nigerians have been on the street for the past couple of days, clamoring for just one thing. Recognizing and appreciating the spirit of the young Nigerian should have made the government and other institutions to put this protest to a halt by granting the request of the young people, not just by making empty promises, because we are used to promises. It is not just about promises, but it's about working the promise. It's about not just the ideas, implementing the ideas, and which is part of recognition and appreciation. It is not just about receiving a plaque, or as I am grateful that I'm part of the 100 most influential people of African descent for 2020. It is not just about that. It is also about really listening to young people, giving them a chance, knowing that the older generation, yes, you have experience, but you don't know it all. But you need to give those people a chance and listen to them, because we're the ones on the field, by the way. We are the ones on the field, and we are the future. So if you're saying that the future of the country is in our hands, and then when we step out to work, to talk, to do things, then listen to us and let us together make the country great.
All right, let's look at beyond the recognition. Let's look at the essence for the decade, that is between 2015 and 2014. A lot of Africans are saying that perhaps African governments are not being deliberate with addressing the essence of this day in terms of having programs that would push forward Africa and Africans.
Yes, true. That is very true. Because not all African governments have subscribed to recognizing this decade. And it's a great thing by the UN, to put a spotlight of people of African descent who have been marginalized over time, who have been in slavery over time, over hundreds of years. And while slavery seems to have ended on paper, there's still the effect of slavery still staying with us. But one of the ways to get that mindset off is about shining the light on certain Africans. And by the time I see that there are people that, despite the situation that we're all in, there are people who are thriving, who are making a difference, it also inspires me, to continue as well, which is why it's important for African governments to recognize this decade of most influential people of African descent, the decade of African descent.
Now, what would be for you now, what would be practical steps that would be seen as being deliberate to address issues?
Okay, number one on the list regarding recognition is appreciation. Now, appreciation doesn't necessarily mean that we are applauding anybody. Appreciation begins with listening, which takes me to the present crisis ravaging the country. The protest, young people saying end SARS. As far as I am concerned, SARS is not just the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. SARS is, and listen to this, social acrimony that is coming from redundant system. That is SARS for me. So the beginning of this is African governments, African leaders to listen to what these young people are saying. For African governments and African leaders to know that you cannot be in a digital generation and you are using analog systems to work. There are redundant systems. There are things not working again. It worked for you, it worked for your children, but for the sake of your children and your children's children, and I'm speaking to African leaders now, it is important for us to amend things and end this SARS. Again, not just the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, but any social acrimony that is coming from redundant systems.
Social acrimony coming from redundant systems, very critical and crucial there. But for you now that have been recognized, what next? What are you building on this recognition?
Okay, so what recognition does for you is it inspires you to continue to do more, right? And we have a goal in CHAMP to have inspired 1 billion champions by Monday, the 30th of November, 2026. And so this inspires us to continue to do more. So via social media platforms, via even traditional media platforms, we keep on putting out inspirational content to help people to rock every day like a champion, to help young people to be more responsible. And we're excited to see how young people are going out, protesting, saying what they want, because you see, it is always said that the future is in the hands of young people. And therefore, it sounds hypocritical, kind of, because these leaders say that the future is the young people. And when young people are making recommendations about the future, when young people are protesting that an old system is no more working, the African leaders seem not to listen. So recognition and appreciation is not just about applauding anyone, it's about listening and not just making promises after listening as well. It's about implementing the promises.
Now, you would agree with me that there are a lot of young people in Nigeria and even across Africa who are doing a whole lot to perhaps portray the African continent in a very good light. How can they position themselves such that they can be visible and perhaps be appreciated as well?
Now, the number of Africans, young Africans who are doing very well, across the continent, not just in Nigeria. The way to position is keep on doing the great work you are doing, remain grounded, ensure that you maintain character, ensure that you keep developing your competencies, ensure that you have compassion for people, because the spotlight shouldn't just be on you. You are not the star when you are serving people. The people you are serving are the stars, so the spotlight should be on them. It is less of you and more of them, and make sure that you are courageous as well, because there are many times that you will encounter things that will want you to be discouraged, that you need to encourage yourself and maintain courage. It is said that courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to persist even in the face of the fear. So competence, character, courage, compassion, those things will position every young African to becoming a global champion.
One key thing you mentioned, which it's quite difficult to find in days like this, is the aspect of service. A lot of people do not want to serve. Talk to us how important that aspect is on this journey.
Yeah, you see, when you have one of the biggest challenges we have in Africa, especially among leaders, is that there is no heart for service. The focus is always on the leader, what the leader can make. Whereas that is hypocrisy on one side, and that has been myopic as well on one hand. By being myopic, that the leader cannot see far. Because if I only concentrate on myself, yes, I will make some money. But if I help people to grow, I help the economy to grow, I help people to get best of education in the world, the roads are tarred, there is more money to go around everybody. But because people are myopic, because people are not visionary, they constantly make the focus themselves. Service is the way for you to even be more successful than you are. And when everybody is happy, when everybody is successful, what joy do you have? What great joy do you have as the leader, as compared with when people are in poverty? So there seems to be an intention to keep people in poverty because certain people don't have the heart of service. But for us to really serve, for us to really transform this nation, for any individual African to really become a global champion, we all need to commit to service.
All right, Abiola Champ Salami, thank you for being one of Africa's champions that is shining the great light across the world. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.